The war was finally over. After 10 long years, the human forces had won. The galaxy was quiet now. No more battles. No more screams. The enemy, the alien race called the Zalari, had surrendered. And the hero of this war was a man named Commander. Jacques Marlowe.jax was strong, brave, and smart. He had led the final mission that ended the war. People called him a legend. Soldiers saluted him. Children knew his name. The leaders of the Human Alliance wanted to reward him, but no one expected this kind of reward. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was full. Leaders, soldiers, and citizens sat quietly as the High Chancellor stood and spoke. Commander Jacques, you gave us peace, you gave us victory. For that, you deserve more than a medal. 2 guards stepped forward. Behind them were 2 girls' twin sisters, thin, silent, with pale blue skin and glowing violet eyes. They looked like they were only 17. Long silver hair fell to their shoulders. Their hands were chained. They were Zalari. Jacques stared at them. Everyone stared at him. The Chancellor smiled. These twin sisters were captured during the final battle. They are now your reward. You may keep them, use them, break them, or throw them away. They are yours. The crowd clapped. But Jacques did not smile. Later, inside his ship, Jacques sat alone with the twins in his private chamber. The ship was flying through deep space, quiet, cold, dark. He looked at the girls. They sat on the floor, still chained, still silent. They didn't cry. They didn't beg. One of them looked straight at Jacques, not with fear, but with something else. Something strange. Her eyes seemed to say, "You don't know what you've done." Jacques finally broke the silence. "What are your names?" No answer. "Can you speak English?" Still no answer. He got up and removed their chains. The twins looked surprised, but they didn't move. They didn't run. They just stared at him. Jax turned away and sat down. He opened a bottle and took a drink. His head hurt. His heart felt heavy. These girls were not soldiers. They were not enemies. They were just kids. But then, something strange happened. That night, Jacques couldn't sleep. He lay in his bed, eyes open, listening to the quiet hum of the ship. But suddenly he heard a voice, a whisper. "Don't trust them." He sat up quickly, looked around. No one was there. He stood and walked to the chamber where the girls were kept. The door slid open with a soft whoosh. The twins were still sitting in the same spot. But one of them, just one, was staring at him again. And then she spoke. Very soft, very broken English. "They are watching?" Jacques frowned. "Who is watching?" The girl looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. "Not us, them." Before Jacques could ask more, she suddenly collapsed. Her sister screamed, a sharp, strange sound like a broken radio signal. Jacques ran to help. He picked up the girl. She was burning. Hot, fever, or something worse. He placed her gently on the bed and looked at her sister. "What's happening to her?" The twins' lips trembled. "We, not reward, we, warning." Jacques stared. "What do you mean?" But she didn't speak again. That night the whisper returned. "You were not supposed to be kind. Now they know." Jacques's hands turned cold. The air felt heavy. The lights flickered for just a second. Something wasn't right. Something was watching, listening. Not the girls, something else. He looked out the ship's window into the dark space outside. A strange planet passed slowly in the distance. He didn't recognize it, but something inside him said, "You'll go there." Soon, back in the chamber, the sick twin opened her eyes for a moment and whispered something in her own language. Her sister nodded. They weren't just slaves. They were something else. Something hidden, something powerful. Asterisk, the silence inside the ship felt heavy. Commander Jacques sat alone in the control room. The stars outside blinked like cold eyes. The memory of last night still echoed in his mind. The soft voice, the strange warning, and the words, "We are not a reward. We are a warning." Jacques rubbed his face. He wasn't a man who scared easily. He had fought in burning skies and broken cities. But something about these girls, these twin aliens, felt different. Something was wrong. He walked back to the chamber where the sisters stayed. The ship lights flickered again, just for a second. But Jacques noticed. That never happens, he whispered. The door slid open. Inside, both twins were awake. One still looked weak, but she was sitting up now. The other stood beside her, hands folded. In front, her violet eyes watched Jocks quietly, like a cat watching a stranger. He stepped closer and spoke gently. You spoke to me last night. You said someone's watching. Who? The standing twin didn't answer. Instead, she looked at her sister. The sick one spoke softly. Not who, what? Jocks knelt beside her. She looked tired, but not afraid. My name is Jocks. What's yours? There was a pause. Then, Lyra, the sick twin said. Her sister added, I'm Lyra. Their voices were calm, quiet, almost human. But something in their tone felt ancient. Jocks asked again, What did you mean by their watching? Lyra placed her hand on her chest. We have signal, inside, not ours, planted. It listens, it hurts. Lyra stepped closer. She touched the side of her neck and pressed gently. A tiny blue light blinked under her skin. Like a tracker, Jocks' eyes widened. Is that a device? Lyra nodded. Slave signal. Sends mind wave, controls weak minds. But we blocked it together. Jocks stood tense. Who put it in you? Both twins looked up, and together they whispered, The Council. Jocks stepped back, heart pounding. The Human Council. His own leaders? He had served them for years, fought their war, trusted their mission. But now, this? Why would they track you? He asked. Lyra answered, voice shaking. Because we are not normal Zalari. We are different. How? Jocks asked. Lyra opened her hand and let it hover in the air. Slowly, a small glowing orb of light formed in her palm. It floated gently, spinning like a tiny star. Jocks stared, speechless. What? Is that energy seed? Lyra said. We were born with it. Only two in galaxy. That's why we are twins, Lyra added. We are not sisters. We are one split into two. Suddenly the ship shook. Just a small tremor. But enough to make the lights flicker again. An alarm beeped quietly on the control panel outside. Jocks ran to the console. He tapped the screen. A signal was flashing coming from their location. Someone's tracking us? He said. He looked at the screen. A small dot was moving fast toward them. A ship, not one of his. He returned to the twins. You said there's a signal inside you. It's calling someone, isn't it? Lyra nodded slowly. They want us back, alive or dead. Who? Jocks asked again. Lyra looked up, her eyes glowing slightly now. Project Seraphim. That name hit Jocks like a bullet. He had heard it once, long ago. A secret file, hidden deep. Top security. Something about alien children taken from battlefields. Modified, changed. He never saw the file again. You were part of that project? He asked, voice low. Lyra looked away. Lyra simply said, We were the last. Jocks felt sick. All this time he thought he was the hero of the war. But what if the real war had never ended? What if he had just helped cover up something worse? The girls had no reason to lie. Their fear was real. Their power was real. And now someone was coming for them. Fast. He made a choice. He turned back to the console and locked the ship's destination, a hidden sector. Off-grid. Known only to a few. An old friend lived there. Someone who didn't trust the council anymore. We're getting out of here, he said. You're helping us? Lyra asked, shocked. Yes, Jocks replied. I don't use slaves, I protect people. Lyra whispered, Then you will be hunted too. Jocks gave a small smile. Let them come. Far behind in space, a black ship floated in the dark. Inside, a voice spoke. Subject Alpha and Beta have left the grid. And the human? He's helping them. Terminate. All three. The stars outside the ship blurred as they entered hyperspace. Jax sat in the pilot seat, eyes fixed on the dark screen. His hands were tight on the controls. He had changed direction, broken protocol, and was now marked as a traitor, all because of two girls, two alien twins, Lyra and Lyra. They sat quietly behind him, still glowing faintly under the dim lights. The sick one, Lyra, was better now. But the strange energy around them still filled the air, soft, cold, and electric. Jocks had seen many strange things in war. But never something like this. The ship's auto voice beeped. Arrival in 20 minutes. They were heading to Sector 17X, a dead zone. No patrols, no communication. Just space dust and shadows. An old friend of Jock's lived there, someone who knew how to hide, but now Jock's had more questions than answers. He turned to face the twins. You said you're different. That you're not just Zilari, that you were created. Why? Lyra glanced at Lyra, then she stepped forward and did something Jock's didn't expect. She knelt in front of him. We show you now. Her fingers moved to the side of her neck. She pressed lightly. Suddenly her skin shimmered and a pattern appeared, glowing. Lines, symbols, circles like a tattoo made of light. What is that? Jock's whispered. Lyra stood beside her sister and did the same dot. The same pattern glowed on her neck, but in reverse, together, the two markings formed a mirror image. Jock's leaned in, then his heart stopped. That's not art. That's a map. The glowing symbols moved slightly, like they were alive. Data, coordinates, a path through unknown space. JAX had seen maps like this before in deep military vaults. Secret locations, lost tech, forbidden zones. Where does this lead? He asked. Lyra answered softly. To our beginning, and maybe your end. Suddenly a sharp beeping sound echoed through the ship. Warning, incoming signal detected. Jock's jumped up and checked the console. A faint signal was coming through, encrypted. That's impossible, he muttered. We're off-grid? He opened the signal. A robotic voice played, broken and cold. Return the assets. Last warning. Jock's blood turned cold. He shut the screen off. He turned back to the girls. What is this map? Why is it inside you? Lyra stood slowly. We were born in a lab. A machine gave us life. Not Zilari, not human. What? Do you mean? Jock asked. Lyra looked sad. We are both. Half and half. Jock stared. That's not possible. Lyra shook her head. Project Seraphim was not about study. It was about creation. Lyra continued. They took alien DNA, human DNA, mixed it, spliced it, changed it, over and over until us. Jock sat down. Slowly. Why would they do that? The twins spoke together. To unlock the gate? Jock blinked. Gate? Lyra pointed to the glowing map on her neck. This path leads to something old. Something hidden. Lyra added, is locked. Only we can open it. Jock frowned. What's behind the gate? Lyra's voice became cold. Power, knowledge, or destruction? The ship shuddered slightly. Something was following. Jock checked the radar. A small dot. Gaining speed. We need to get to Sector 17X, fast. Minutes. Later, the ship dropped out of hyperspace. Darkness surrounded them. Broken asteroids floated like bones in space. No planets. No lights, just a single dead moon in the distance. JAX guided the ship toward it. There's a base inside that moon. Hidden, my contact is there. As they approached, a hangar door slowly opened. They entered the dark tunnel. Inside the base, a tall man with a metal arm waited. He smiled as Jock stepped out. Didn't think I'd see you again, Jock. I need help, Ray. Ray looked at the twins behind him. His face changed. Oh no, what did you bring? Long story, Jock said. But I think the council lied to us. Ray laughed once, dry and sharp. They always lie. In a small private room, Jock showed Ray the map on the twins' necks. Ray froze. This isn't just a map, Jock. This is a key. And I've seen the lock. Where? Ray looked serious. Now, in the ruins of Ecliptor Prime, a world that vanished 500 years ago, nothing but whispers remain. Jock nodded slowly. That's where we're going. Meanwhile, deep in space aboard a black ship, a voice whispered, they found the path, they found the gate. Another answered, prepare the Seraphim Protocol. The secret moon base was quiet. Commander Jock sat alone in the cold metal hallway, staring at the door in front of him. Behind that door, Ray was scanning the map hidden in the twins' skin. Jock could hear the soft hum of machines through the wall. His thoughts were loud, too loud. He remembered the day the council gave him the twins, how proud they looked. How fake their smiles were. They said it was a reward. But it was a lie. And now he was starting to wonder, had he been a pawn the whole time? The door opened. Ray stepped out. His face was pale, even his robotic hand was shaking. This is bigger than I thought, Jox. What did you find? Jox asked. Ray looked around, then whispered, You're not going to like it. Inside the lab room, Lyra and Lyra stood near the scanner. A 3D map floated above them, now huge, spinning. Slowly in the air, a path of light connected several lost star systems. At the center was a glowing red point, Ecliptor Prime, a forgotten world. Burned in the war. Erased from all maps, but Jox knew that name because he had destroyed it. 10 years ago, Jox had followed orders. The Council said Ecliptor Prime was hiding Zalari weapons. He led the attack, bombed the planet. Burned everything. Now he spoke slowly. I was there, Lyra turned to him. Then you saw the gate. Jox shook his head. I saw nothing but fire. Lyra looked sad. Because it was not ready. Ree stepped forward and zoomed in on the red point. There's a signal coming. From inside, it started 5 days ago. That's when the girls were given to you, right? Jox nodded. Ray turned to him, serious. They knew you'd go looking. They planted this path inside them, then gave them to the one soldier who followed orders without asking questions. They used you again? Jox felt sick. All these years he had believed in the cause. He had trusted the Council. But now, he could see it clearly. They didn't give him the twins as a gift. They gave him a job. To lead them to the gate, and maybe to kill the twins when it opened. What does the gate do? Jox asked. Ray shrugged. No one knows. The Zalari worshipped it. Called it the mind of the stars? Said it could rewrite life itself? Lyra stepped forward. Our people feared it. The Council wanted it. That's why they made us. Only we can open it. Why both of you? Jox asked. Lyra answered. Because the key is broken in two, one part in each of us. It was the only way to keep it safe. Ray checked his scanner again. You need to leave now. The signal is growing. Someone else is already heading there. Jox narrowed his eyes. The Council? Ray nodded. And someone worse. Jox turned to the twins. We go together. But once we reach Ecliptor Prime, we do this my way. Yes, Lyra said. But no, this once the gate opens, no one stays the same. They boarded the ship. As the engines warmed, Jox set the coordinates, destination, Ecliptor Prime. Before they left, he sent a secure message to an old friend, Captain Vale, the only man in the military Jox still trusted. Message. They lied. It's bigger than the war. Meet me at Ecliptor. Bring no one. Back on Earth, inside the High Council Tower, a group of leaders watched Jox's movements on a giant screen. The Grand Chancellor stood in the shadows. He's going to the gate. A female general asked, Shall we stop him? The Chancellor shook his head. No, let him open it. Let him see what he's done. Somewhere in deep space, another ship floated silently. Inside, a man sat in darkness. His face was hidden under a mask. His voice was cold. The twins are active. Begin phase 2. A soldier near him asked, Do we kill the commander? No, the masked man said. We need him to believe he's in control until the end. Back on Jox's ship, the stars rushed past as they entered hyperspace again. The twins sat near the window, holding hands. Do you think he will protect us? Lyra asked softly. Lyra smiled a little. He's already chosen. Jox stood alone in the control room. He stared into space, thinking about everything he now knew. The war was never about victory. The twins were never a reward. And he had never been free, but he made a promise to himself right then, no matter what the gate was, he would protect those girls, even if it meant turning against everything he once believed. The ship dropped out of hyperspace. Ahead of them floated a dead world. Ecliptor Prime. Once full of life. Now nothing but ice and shadows, a ghost planet burned in war. Forgotten by time, Commander Jox stood in the ship's cockpit, eyes locked. On the frozen surface. This place was never meant to be found again, he whispered. Behind him, Lyra and Lyra stared quietly through the glass. It remembers, Lyra said. It watches, Lyra added. Their voices were calm. But something in the air felt different now, heavy, cold, ancient. The ship landed on a wide ice field. Thick fog swirled around the landing gear. The sky above was gray and cracked. Lightning moved without sound. Jock stepped out first, his boots crunching on the frozen ground. The cold bit into his skin, even through the suit. The twins followed. But strangely, the snow melted around their feet. The ice hissed as they walked. "This place knows us," Lyra said. Jock looked at her. "Why? What is this planet?" Lyra closed her eyes. "This is where we were born. Not in body, but in purpose." They walked across the icy field toward a mountain of black stone. The twins led the way. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. Symbols carved into the rocks, lights glowing under the ice. Whispers in the wind. Jax heard voices in his head, not words. Just sounds, old sounds, like forgotten memories trying to return. "Do you hear that?" he asked. "Yes," the twins said together. "The planet is speaking." Soon they reached a wall of ancient stone, tall and wide. Half buried in snow, a door stood in the center. No handle. No control panel, just a glowing circle. Lyra and Lyra stepped forward. Together they placed their hands on the circle. For a second nothing happened. Then light, a wide beam, shot into the sky. The ground shook. The door melted into itself. A path opened. Downward. Jock stepped back. "What is this place?" Lyra turned to him. "The gate is waking." They entered the tunnel. It went down, deeper and deeper into the planet. The walls pulsed with soft light. Strange shapes moved just out of view like shadows without bodies. Jax kept his hand on his weapon. He had been in enemy bases, war zones, alien prisons, but nothing felt like this. This felt alive. Lyra stopped. She touched a wall. A small section lit up, showing a glowing symbol, a map. "We're close," she whispered. Minutes later they reached the end of the tunnel. A giant chamber opened before them, and there it stood, the gate, tall as a tower, covered in golden wires and glowing marks, floating above a stone floor without touching it. It hummed like it was breathing. Jock stepped closer, eyes wide. "This is not just alien tech. This is something else." Lyra nodded. "This is the mind of stars, built before memory, before time. By who?" Jock asked. Lyra looked at him. "Not who, what?" Suddenly the chamber lights pulsed. A voice echoed loud, deep, not male or female. "The keys have returned? The cycle begins again?" The twins fell to their knees. Their eyes glowed bright violet. Jock ran to them. "What's happening?" Lyra gasped. "We're remembering." "Remembering what?" he shouted. Lyra whispered, "What we were made to do." The gate began to spin slowly. A large shape appeared inside it, like liquid glass forming a window. Jock saw stars, then ships, then war. His war himself, but something was wrong. In the vision, he wasn't the hero. He was the tool. A council used him to find this place again and again. "This has happened before," Jock muttered. The voice returned. "And it will happen again, until the gate is complete." Jock looked at the twins. "What is this thing really doing?" "It's not a weapon," Lyra said. "It's a mirror," Lyra added. "It shows the truth?" Suddenly, a loud alarm rang on Jock's wrist device. A ship had entered orbit. Not friendly. Jock checked the signal. "It's them." "The black ship. They followed us." The gate pulsed again. The voice spoke louder now. "Choice must be made. Open or end." Lyra stood slowly. "If we open it, the truth will come out," Lyra added. "But truth can destroy, just as much as lies." Jock looked at the gate. Then at the twins, then up at the surface, where death was flying down fast. He had one chance, one moment to decide. Open the gate and risk everything, or run and let the lie live longer. The wind inside the chamber rose. The gate flashed, and then Jock stepped forward. The gate opened. With sound. Not with light, but with a feeling. The air in the chamber froze. The walls shook gently, like they were breathing. Commander Jock took one step forward, and everything changed. The stars vanished. He was standing in a new place. Not a room, not a planet, A space without edges. Around him floated massive shapes, machines made of silver and shadow. Some were the size of cities, others the size of thoughts. He was inside the gate, but more than that, inside a machine. The twins stood beside him. Lyra and Lyra didn't look afraid. In fact, they looked calm, like they had returned home. "Where are we?" Jox asked, his voice echoing in the nothingness. Lyra spoke first. "We are inside the core." "The core of what?" he asked. Lyra answered. "The core of memory. The oldest machine in the galaxy." Jox looked around. It didn't feel like any machine he had ever seen. There were no buttons. No wires. Just light. And silence. Then a voice came, not like the one before. This one was soft, ancient, inside his head. "Welcome, user. You are early." Jox turned quickly. "Who's speaking?" "I am the archive. I am what remains." He frowned. "Remains of what?" "Of the makers." Images appeared in the air, floating like dreams, beings of light, not human, not Zalari. Something older, bigger. They moved without walking, spoke without words, created without tools. The archive spoke again. "Before war, before stars. They were here. They built the gates, the machines, the seeds." Lyra stepped forward. "We were born from their code." "And from your blood," Lyra added, looking at Jox. He stared at them, confused. "Mine?" Lyra nodded. "Your DNA was used. In the project, human warriors were chosen, strong minds, strong hearts. You are part of us." Jox backed away, his thoughts raced. Had the council used him not just as a soldier but as a blueprint? Was that why they chose him to receive the twins, not as a gift, but as a key? The archive spoke again. "You were brought here to finish the cycle, to decide the path. 2 roads remain, activation or shutdown." Jox looked at the twins. "What happens if I activate it?" Lyra looked up at the floating machines. "The galaxy changes, the truth is revealed. Life rewrites itself. And if I shut it down?" Lyra answered. "Everything stays the same, the lies survive. The war begins again." Suddenly a new voice entered the machine, harsh, familiar. "Don't listen to them." A glowing figure stepped out of the shadows. It was Captain Vale, but something was wrong. His eyes glowed silver. His voice wasn't normal. "They are not your allies, Jox. They are code. They are control." Jox raised his weapon. "Vale? What happened to you?" Vale laughed. "I entered the gate before you, saw the truth. There is no freedom here, only programming." He turned to the twins. "They are not girls. They are tools, built to trick you." The twins stepped back, eyes glowing again. "He was corrupted," Lyra said. "He chose power," Lyra added. Vale's smile turned sharp. "And it made me stronger." He raised his hand. A pulse of energy shot toward Jox. Jox dove aside just in time. The blast cracked the air, tearing a hole in the machine space. Jax fired back, but his bullets turned to dust in the air. Nothing here worked the same. Lyra stepped forward, holding her sister's hand. "Jox, we can protect you," Lyra added, "but you must choose now." Vale roared. "Don't let them decide for you." Jox turned between them. The archive spoke once more. "You were not built. You were not forced. You are the variable, the wild one. The choice is yours." Jox lowered his weapon. "I'm tired of war." He looked at the twins. "Activate it." They nodded. Together. They floated into the air. Their bodies glowed like suns. The machine around them lit up symbols, memories, stars. A shockwave of truth pulsed outward through the core. Vale screamed as his form cracked and vanished. The lies burned away. Then silence. The machine faded. Jox stood once again on the icy surface of Ecliptor. Prime. The gate behind him closed slowly. The twins stood beside him, still glowing faintly. "What now?" he asked. Lyra smiled. "Now, the galaxy remembers. The stars look different now, brighter, quieter, older." Jax stood on the frozen surface of Ecliptor Prime, watching the last light fade from the ancient gate behind him. The twins Lyra and Lyra stood beside him, their silver hair blowing gently in the icy wind. The gate had closed, but it had left something behind. Truth. The war that Jocks thought he had won was never about victory. It was about control. The council had lied. The mission had been a cover, and the gate was never a weapon. It was a mirror. A machine that showed what was real and erased what was in single quote. Now, the whole galaxy would remember. A soft voice broke the silence. It has begun, Lyra whispered. JX looked at her. What has? Lyra pointed to the sky, the stars above. Were blinking faster now. Lines of light ran across them, data paths, messages, warnings, as if the galaxy itself had come alive. The archive spread the truth, Lyra said. All who listen will know. But not everyone wanted truth. Some wanted power. A red light blinked on Jox's wrist. Incoming message. He opened it. The face of the High Chancellor appeared, half covered in shadow. But his voice was sharp and full of anger. You opened the gate. Yes, Jox said. You had no right. I had no choice. The Chancellor's eyes narrowed. You've started something you don't understand. Then help me understand it, Jox replied. But the screen went black. JX turned to the twins. What happens now? Lyra spoke first. Some will accept the truth, Lyra added. Others will fight it. And us? Jox asked. The twins looked at each other, then back at him. We are no longer the key, Lyra said. We are something new, Lyra added. They stepped forward and placed their hands on Jox's chest. And so are you. Suddenly, Jox's vision blurred. He saw flashes, other planets, other lives. Versions of himself fighting, dying, choosing. In some he opened the gate, in others he didn't. In one, he became the enemy, and in one, he became the guide. He woke seconds later, breathing hard. What was that? Lyra smiled. The machine showed us all versions. But in every one, Lyra said. You chose, that's why we trusted you. A sound echoed from above. Engines. A ship was descending, black, sharp, silent. JX stepped forward, hand on his weapon. I know that design. Council Elite. The twins looked calm. They are not here to talk, Lyra said. They are here to erase, Lyra added. The ship landed hard. From the ramp came soldiers in black armor, and behind them a new figure. Tall, thin, wearing white robes and a silver crown. No weapon. Just a cold smile. Commander Jox Marlowe, he said. Step away from the twins. No, Jox said. You don't understand what they are, the man replied. I understand. Enough, Jox said. They're alive and free. The man nodded slowly. Then you've made your choice. He raised his hand. The soldiers aimed, but before anyone could shoot, the twins stepped forward. They raised their hands. A pulse of light exploded from their palms, not deadly, but pure. The soldiers froze. Their weapons dropped. Their minds opened. For a moment, they saw the truth. They dropped to their knees. Only the man in robes remained standing. He snarled. You think light will save you? He pressed a small device on his wrist, a call, a message. Begin protocol Ashfall. Wipe Ecliptor. From orbit. Above the planet, hidden in the dark, a weapon began to glow. A planetary cannon. Jox's eyes widened. He's going to erase all of this. Lyra grabbed Jox's hand. We can stop it, Lyra nodded. But only together. Jox looked at the sky. Then at the twins. Then at the man who wanted silence instead of truth. He made his choice. Let's end it. The twins floated upward, pulling Jox between them. Their bodies lit up, brighter than the sun. The gate behind them flickered open one last time. From it came a surge of memory, energy, time. Everything the council tried to bury. The cannon in orbit charged. It fired, but the beam never touched the planet. Instead, it hit the archive's returning signal, bounced, shattered, and turned. The council's own weapon folded into itself and vanished. When the light cleared, the man in robes was gone, his ship, too. Only the stars remained, quiet again, but not the same. Jax landed softly on the snow. The twins stood beside him, smiling gently. You chose truth, Lyra said. Even when it hurt, Lyra added. Jox looked up at the sky. It was wider than Before got more open, more alive, he breathed deeply for the first time in years. He was not a soldier, he was something else, a witness, a protector, a man who made the hardest choice.